Alright, Hammurabi was the king of Babylon in 1750 BC. He's credited to the first written code of laws, where he wrote 208 laws on a tablet and put it in the center of their city. You guys are probably most familiar with an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We can't expect the legislature to pass a law saying, if someone pokes out your eye, you can do the same thing back. However, they can look up to Hammurabi, credited to the first written code of laws, as an example on how to use the death penalty. The United States of America needs to adopt Hammurabi's philosophy, an eye for an eye, in all cases of first, second, and third degree murder. So everything I'm going to be discussing does not pertain to accidental murder, manslaughter, or anything like that. Threatening to take someone's life as a result of murder reduces the crime rate. States that implement the death penalty have a lower murder rate in proportion to population. According to Lee London in her article, Last Words of Executed Prisoners in Texas, I found on criminalbrief.com, Texas issues the most death penalties and accounts for 1/3 of the national deaths. Texas only has a murder rate of 4.8, whereas Maryland's is 8.6, according to a study of nationwide murder rates in 2015, conducted by the Death Penalty Information Organization. Capital punishment should be administered to only murder cases. Providing the death penalty to non-homicidal crimes is against an eye for an eye and unconstitutional, according to the 5th and 14th Amendment. The 5th Amendment states, man shall not be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The 14th Amendment states, law may not deny any person within its jurisdictions of life, liberty, or property with equal protection of the laws. This is also called the Due Process Clause. In June of 2008, the United States Supreme Court ruled during Kennedy versus Louisiana that capital punishment cannot be imposed for non-homicidal crimes. In 1977, the Supreme Court ruled during Coker versus Georgia that states cannot apply the death penalty in cases of adult rape because it violates the proportionality requirement. This directly correlates to an eye for an eye in regards of proportionality. Under unintentional particular circumstances, the death penalty should be pardoned. In cases where a homicide was not intentional but unnecessary, the prosecutor should be sentenced to prison and not administered any form of capital punishment. In 1980, the Supreme Court ruled during Godfrey versus Georgia that the death penalty can only be given during cases that homicide was intentional on an aggravating factor. Legislature needs to understand when pardoning a particular citizen is acceptable, as Hammurabi did. In 1750 BC, Babylon, the order of valued lives went from aristocrats to slave owners to freed slaves and regular slaves. If a slave owner took out the eye of a freed slave, he is required to pay a fine rather than his own eye. This would go the exact same way with murder. In the United States, the order of valued lives goes from children to women to men. So, if a minor were to commit homicide, they would not be tried as an adult because of psychological reasons. Therefore, they would not receive the death penalty. This form of sentencing is not unconstitutional. The 8th Amendment states, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Forms of executing now, such as the firing squad and lethal injection, are more humane than former forms such as the guillotine, hanging, and electric chair. According to the Georgia State Representative Sessions of 1995 through 1996, Georgia State Representative Doug Tepper failed to pass a bill replacing their electric chair with the guillotine because of its destruction to the head. Therefore, any form that causes any destruction to the body would be unconstitutional. The General Assembly also found, while prisoners condemned to death may wish to donate one or more of their organs for transplant, any such desire is thwarted by the fact that electrocution makes all organs unsuitable for transplant. So, he did actually get the electric chair removed out of Georgia's bills. We need to look at Hammurabi's legal systems to better our own. Capital punishment does not rule unconstitutional under close regulations, but we must pay tribute to Hammurabi on knowing when to use it and when not to. The United States of America needs to adopt Hammurabi's philosophy of an eye for an eye in all cases of first, second, and third degree murder, not those that are unintentional. Thank you, guys.